Making thumbnails is easier than you think, and depending on the type of person you are, your definition of a thumbnail may be different. Some people think of meme thumbnails, some people think of clean thumbnails, and some people think of really simple thumbnails. Whatever your definition of a thumbnail is, they all have one thing in common. They're essentially the first impression of a video, which makes them pretty damn important. But also keep in mind to never overthink it, and that there's never a one and only way to making a thumbnail. There are a multitude of ways to making one, and it all comes down to your personal preference. Just be sure to add your own quirkiness to the thumbnail.
Shit, that's me.
First step is to obviously open up Photoshop. After opening up Photoshop, hover over to the left hand side and click on the new profile. Make sure the dimensions are set to 1920 by 1080, resolution 72, and set the bit to 16, you know, the standard. And then come down to the bottom and hit create. And congratulations, you're one step closer to creating your own masterpiece. Give yourself a pat on the back. So by now you should already have a rough idea of what you want your thumbnail to look like, which is great. Keep that lock in your head. You're gonna need it. It's gonna save a lot of time. And with that being said, we can smoothly move into the next step.
You don't like it.
Masking out your character. Go to Google, Chrome, or whatever your browser is and search up the character that you want to use. I'll be using Lilith. And what you want to do is you want to right click on the character you want, go to copy image, and then go back to Photoshop and press Ctrl V on your keyboard to paste them in. Once you got them in, click P on your keyboard for the pen tool. It's also somewhere on the left. Krim will help you out. Thanks, Krim. Then once you do that, go crazy and start cropping out your character. Take your time though. You want it to look nice and crisp. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, to use the pen tool, you can just click 2 points to make a line. You can also click and hold to make a little curve. You can also move them around by holding Control. Also, when you're making a curve, you can cancel the curve out by holding Alt. After cropping out your character, the next thing we have to do is hit right click, hit make a selection, then click OK. Then come down to the bottom right panel and click on the mask icon. If you run into a similar problem like I did, and you're still some of the background in your thumbnail, you can just simply press E on your keyboard for the eraser and erase it from there. Just remember that white shows what's on the layer and black hides. Let's add a curve to our character. Go down to the effects icon and select curves, then drag it above our character. Once it's above our character, we need you to right click on it and then create a clipping mask. Just make sure it only affects the character and nothing else. And then we're going to adjust the lighting like so. Now, you have options with the background. You can technically just take a random background. You can technically take a random background and then just drop it in, slap a text over it, and call it a day. You can render something out of Blender and throw it into Photoshop. You can blend multiple photos together. The possibilities are endless. So go to Chrome, search up the backgrounds you want. You're gonna copy it and you're gonna paste it into Photoshop. Once you have it into Photoshop, we're gonna press E and we're gonna make sure we have the soft brush enabled. And then once you do that, we're gonna take both of our pictures and we're gonna blend them together. Another thing that you can do is that you can add overlays to your thumbnails. These make them really nice. Just don't go crazy with them. Now, not all thumbnails need a texture. Most of the time it can be skipped, but in the right scenario, it can be that +1. For this specific thumbnail, I wanted to go for a grunge look, so I pretty much duplicated the grunge texture 3 times, and I set the bottom one to multiply. Then you're gonna go into the blending options, select the pins on the underlying layer, and then drag it all the way to the other side. For the second one, we're going to set it to screen. Just like we did with the bottom layer, we're going to split the pins by clicking Alt, and then we're going to drag it to the other side. As for the one on top, we're gonna set that one to stream. And if it's too overpowering, you can just turn down the opacity. It will blend in much nicer that way. And finally, all we have to do next is to add our text. Press T on your keyboard, and then next all you gotta do is type in your text. Once you type in your text, let's bling it out. Basically, we're adding a stroke, inner glow, a gradient overlay, or pretty much anything that makes the text look good. Sometimes it takes a bit of playing around to get the look that you want. Just keep playing around and eventually you're gonna get something that you like. So once we finish with our text, let's warp the text. Press Ctrl T on your keyboard, right click and choose perspective. After choosing perspective, just click and drag on one of the 4 corners and move around till you get the results that you like. So go up to File, scroll down to Export, Export As, and after that, you wanna save it somewhere on your PC and don't forget to name it. My God, has it been so many times I have named something on my PC, just a random ass name. Later, come to find out, my PC is like, which one is it? So name your files. Don't be like Krim. Be better than Krim. Be sure to take your time with these thumbnails. The more time you put into them, the better they will look. And that's it for me. Yeah, so peace.